Hey friends, what's up? It's so good to see you guys. It's Thursday and we are in the break room doing our thing today. Um Ready for another leadership chat. What are we talking about today? We are going to dive into more of this topic on um some of you guys being afraid or not necessarily afraid, that's maybe not the right word. Maybe it's that you feel a bit uncomfortable allowing yourselves to pause, to have a dynamic pause. And what do we mean by dynamic? We mean that it's meaningful. It's a meaningful pause. What do we mean? That ultimately that pause gets you momentum. Ultimately that pause still gets you movement, but it's movement with purpose. And so all of these talks that we do together, they may come back around, but that's what it's connected to as a whole is this idea of pausing for you, for your leadership approach, which then will affect your team, the whole nine yards, right? So today's topic, though, is the myth of relentless motion. That motion that just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And how many of you guys remember the Energizer bunny from that, commercial that it just keeps going and keeps going? Well, some of us do that. Some of us do that, in our lives. We do that with our work. We do that with our relationships in a way. It's the work part or the piece that's moving all the time tends to bring us comfort in some ways. Even when it's wearing us out, we still feel more comfortable with that type of movement than we do with a pause. And the idea of it being relentless and what's the myth? So what's the myth surrounding moving and moving all the time and never stop, never stop? And we're going to separate this from the idea of being motivated or going after a goal and getting after it and not quitting on that goal. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the acts of moving for the sake of moving and how a lot of high performers do that, and can hide behind some of this stuff of not stopping and not pausing because we're doing a lot of great things, right? So the myths, what are they? If you don't move all the time, then maybe is this touching on your value system a little bit? Does it make you feel less worthy in any way? Uh, do you feel that if you're not moving constantly, if things don't happen the way that you expected to them to, is that a direct correlation? What's going on within you when you feel like you have to keep moving, always be doing, doing? There's something going on there, right? So, the question of the day, though, the question of the day is, are you moving fast because it's productive, or are you doing that because it's uncomfortable to be still? And I'm being honest with you guys, it is a little uncomfortable sometimes. It's not that we don't like a good vacation, but some of us on vacation struggle to stop moving too. If we're not still moving our body, if we're not still moving our mind, we might still have that phone out. We might go log in on the computer to make sure that things are good. We might tell people, you can still reach me. You know, what I'm saying? There's something connected to that, right? What is it about sitting still? What is it about being still or not maxed to the full in your task load, workload that feels uncomfortable? Now, I learned something recently that was so interesting to me. They're saying the neuroscience, like it's scientific now, right? There's neuroscience behind what we as high performers do and how we are always problem solving, always getting after the next thing. We're always stacking. We get a dopamine hit from that. We get a dopamine hit from the actual solving of the issues. And so the more we're doing and the more we're moving, the more issues that we're going to face. And then we're getting this hit of dopamine because we're solving it. So when we remove ourselves from that and we give ourselves a break, like a vacation, or maybe it's just not a vacation, maybe it's just a Sunday, maybe it's a, an evening, who knows what it is for each of us. But when we're not doing that, then we do kind of experience something in our bodies and in our brains. We've gotten ourselves super used to those dopamine hits. So when that stops, then, or when that slows up a bit, there is a little bit of unease, really. And so the whole thing is that we don't want to become addicted to that, right? We want to be great at our problem solving. Guess what? We still can without having to stack, stack, stack. We still can be wonderful at it. It's not because of the amount of problems that we're having that we are good at solving them. We might have got some reps in once upon a time and develop that skill set, but that's not why we're good. So if you have fewer things that you're loading up, it doesn't mean that you're any less of a problem solver, right? So some key points to think about in this topic, all right? You can burn yourself out, okay? And burnout's gonna give you some warning signs. So you wanna think about the idea of um, acceleration versus clarity, because we can keep going and we can speed up and we can do all these things. But if we're not really paying attention, if we're not paying attention to ourselves, if we're not paying attention to others, I mean, really, are we really paying attention to others when we're going at that speed? Um, It doesn't matter how fast you're going if you're not going in the right direction. Okay. Which is tricky when you're doing a lot of things that are quote unquote right. Okay. But you're going to burn out if you do not take the time to chill out a little bit, take some of these moments of pause to let clarity rise to the top so that you can ensure that you're aligning with the purpose that you're supposed to be with in this season. And I say supposed to, and I understand that purpose is choice in a lot of ways. But we do, I'm very much a believer in that we do have some things that are innately in us that allow us to pursue certain things that are purposeful, and then that purpose connects to a deeper sense of purpose within us, right? And not just within us for this season, within us for this year, within us for this decade. We could kind of decide we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving as people. So it would make sense that sometimes things are shifting a bit for us in how we approach purpose, okay? And that purpose can be multi-layered and multifaceted as well. We can serve a purpose, we can have a purpose, right? And so we can spend our time serving a purpose, serving a little a purpose is meaningful, but it doesn't mean that that's what you're supposed to be doing, okay? And maybe we need to make room for somebody else to be doing it, okay? Had a great, podcast, interview this week that's gonna, air in season 3. But yeah, no, we talked about that, about how sometimes the high performer is blocking the path for someone else who is supposed to be stepping up into this season, to do some of the things that you're holding on to because you see these things rising to the top and you're going in for those dopamine hits of solving the problems, right? Um, Sometimes these pauses are countercultural. Let's just be honest. And there's rat race kind of thing going on. There's competition, competition with other people, competition with other businesses, competition with within family, competition within yourself. So doing a pause like this is countercultural. Cultural. We don't always. It's going to stand out. It's not going to look like people are going to be like, "What are you doing?" But Learning that choosing stillness is actually strategic, okay? And it's a power move, not a sign of being stuck or not a sign of lack. That's really important. What else? Oh, I learned this too. It's like it's all about the body today. Learning to pause and having those moments of pause, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. How many people are learning about nervous systems in this season? There's more talk about it now, and, it's so connected to so many other functions in our body. We need to take care of it, but we just need to take care of it, so that we can be fully present in our own lives, and then hopefully more present in the things that we are putting our hands to do. So we're gonna take care of that nervous system, okay? Because here's the deal, when we're on go all the time or when we're in a um, high speed, I guess you can say is the one way to say it, functionality where it's on high all the time, we are really, really just tearing our adrenal glands up. Where our cortisol levels are literally out of whack. And that means something again for the other functions of your body. The fight or flight mode that's natural within us, it's meant to help us out. It's meant to get us out of dangerous situations. It's meant to give us some quick decision making at that time, right? But we're not meant to stay in that mode 24/7, okay? It's not good for us what it's doing to our bodies. So we've got to pay attention to that. So, the breath in between actions is the last key we're going to talk about. So, you want to take a moment in between things so that you can actually just do a quick assessment, right? Take a breath in between these tasks, in between saying yes, okay? In between those yeses, in between the things that you just step into that nobody asked you to. Because sometimes we're answering a question and saying yes to something. Other times we're just stepping into things that no one asked us to do. Okay. But take a breath between those things. Try to evaluate the situation, evaluate yourself. Okay. Test the waters, see how things are going. Slow down enough to understand your own triggers, understand your own warning signs that your body is going to give you when it's time for you to take a beat. Okay. And taking the breath and taking the beat is going to look different for each one of us. It's going to look different, and that's okay. We're not here to grade it for someone else, but you know the truth about yourself and what it looks like when you actually slow down enough to where your brain knows that you're slowing down. Because that's what it is, right? I could lay down my body physically and still be going 100 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour in my brain. It's been done lots of time. So we've got to learn how we step away and actually take a breath, actually pause. Okay. So today's thought and homework to take with you this week, give it a shot in the next week or so. Block out 20 minutes on your calendar. Okay. And we're going to call it your strategic nothing. 20 minutes. That's all I'm asking. No phone, no laptop, maybe just a notepad. And maybe if you're disciplined enough to use the notes app on your phone without doing it's popping into one of the other things to scroll, you know, um, maybe you're on D&D, so you're not seeing the messages pop up of people asking you things, whatever. But try to step away. If you know you can't do that, put the phone down, put the laptop down, take off the Apple Watch because it's going to be dinging you, and get a notepad maybe, and just give yourself time to do strategic nothing, like nothing. Okay. And the notepad, you don't have to have an assignment for that. Just have it there just in case something rises to the top for you in your strategic nothing moment that you want to write down and jot down. Maybe there's a piece of clarity that that comes to mind for you. And I really believe that it's possible. It usually does happen for people who try this out. So y'all have to let me know if it did, if it worked for you or not. So give it a try. Step into your strategic nothing and let's bust these myths about relentless movement, okay? We're busting the myths, we're creating new stories, okay? New truths, new fables. We're telling new superhero stories that look different and that does not require that the hero passes away at the end in a horrible way because they didn't take care of themselves or ends up hurt or harmed or in our bodies or not fully enjoying our lives because that's what this is about. We can fully enjoy our lives when we understand and take advantage of our dynamic pauses. All right, guys. Love you. See you next week. Drop any questions, concerns, whatever in the community page this week. Would love to hear from you. If you want more content, again, we have the Break Room Plus is over on the Patreon, and we would love to have you there. Can't wait. Lots of stuff coming up to share with you guys here soon, and I can't wait to do more of that. Love you and see you later. Bye, guys.